Hello everybody and welcome to another video. In this video we're going to be chatting about and predicting wish listing for what new model kits are going to be coming to the old world. So grab a brew, get comfortable and let's get chatting. Yes. This video has come off the back of an older video that I was going to be making, and I've been asked to sort of put this out, but I thought rather than put it out as it was, I'm going to use a lot of the information and amalgamate into something a little bit different. So this video is literally just wish listing and kind of predicting what we're going to maybe get for the old world using a couple of things. I'm using the rule book and mainly the color photo section of the rulebook to kind of base a lot of these predictions on, as well as some of the rumors and as well as some of the rules that we have in the rulebook itself. So this is purely just for fun. There is very little to prove that any of this will come true, so please don't take it that this is what's going to happen. This is just a little bit of fun, and if you can agree or disagree, you can let me know in the comments. But while you're there, you can also smash that subscribe button, hit the like button and ring that bell. So without further ado, let's jump straight into the factions and jump in with Bretonnians, because you know there's stuff. So, Bretonnians. Now, obviously crazy, you know, we're jumping in with the Bretonnians. Bretonnians have just had a big box. It's a big box of stuff, and we've just had a main to order preview, pre-order that's literally up right now, which I have jumped in on. But what else could they be getting? Well, first things first is this guy, the Green Knight. The Green Knight is a model that is definitely, I think, going to get an update. He hasn't turned up in the pre-order for the mid-order, and there hasn't turned up at all yet. And we haven't seen a new version or any pictures of him in the rulebook, at least no photos of the actual miniature. So I've got a feeling that we're going to be getting a new resin, kind of like the damsel on the unicorn type miniature. So I'm definitely thinking that we're going to be getting that. So, but that's all for the Bretonnians. Because they've had a lot of love. So we're going to next up to the next faction. Okay, Dwarfs. What are the Dwarfs going to get? Well, this is an interesting one. It's also a really, really easy one and probably a no-brainer. And that is the Dwarf King being carried by the shield, by his shield bearers. Now, we know that this model is coming, and we know, and it's probably a really unkept secret at this stage. One, the basis of why I think this is coming is there's no photos of this model in the color section, the photo section of the rulebook. And second, his rules in the Forces of Fantasy book state that this model is going to be now on a 50 by 50 base and has 4 miniatures, not 3. So that means there's 3 bearers and the king on the shield, which is really cool. So that's clearly going to be a new miniature. Originally, in the other video, I'd originally put this down as a new centerpiece miniature. It was either going to be that or the Anvil of Doom. There are photos of the Anvil of Doom in the rulebook, so that's not happening. But that's what I think we are definitely going to get. Could we be getting something else? Maybe Slayers. Now, I know Slayers this is literally me wish listing now, but maybe some new multi-part plastic Slayers. That's not going to happen, 100% it isn't, but we can always dream. But there are pictures of Slayers in the book, so probably not. But that's for the Dwarfs. So let's have a look at the next faction. Okay, the Empire of Men, or the Empire. What could they possibly be getting? Well, it's actually a couple of things that we could really have a look at, and the first one is a general on horse. Now, there was a really old school metal one back in the day, which I will probably guarantee will come out at some stage, probably made to order back out, but I think we're going to get a new centerpiece. But one model that was completely missing from all the photos that I could see was the Imperial Griffin. Now, this is a current plastic kit that is used in Age of Sigmar and the Cities of Sigmar. And yeah, it has rules in the book, but there's no pictures of it in the rule book. Pretty weird. So I'm thinking we could probably get a new, updated version for the old world of an Imperial Griffin. And there's a kind of a reason why. That model basically was a model kit for Karl Franz. It wasn't really for any other reason other than Karl Franz. And Karl Franz isn't in the setting. He also isn't in Age of Sigmar. At least he doesn't ride a Griffin because he's a Stormcast Eternal as a Celestial Prime. Bite me, that's definitely happened. My boy Franz is the Celestial Prime. You can put in the comments if you disagree. So this is a model that kind of doesn't really fit in Age of Sigmar and has no real place right now in the old world. Now, there are options for building a different version, but I'm kind of figuring that, yeah, we could probably get an Imperial Griffin miniature for the Empire. And again, this is purely wish listing on my part, but it's potential. Another thing is the general on the mount, on the horse. If I remember rightly, that was more of a mechanical horse, and I don't think that's been invented yet. So we may actually get another version of that, which is an actual horse rather than a robot horse. But that's pretty much what I'm thinking for the Empire of Men. What do you think? Okay, so next up is the Wood Elves. Now, this is where we're going to get a little bit spicy in my predictions, wish listing, whatever you want to call it. What am I thinking we're going to get? Well, it's a forest dragon. 100%. It has to be. There is no pictures of a forest dragon in the rulebook. Now, that's not to say that this forest dragon isn't going to be put up from made to order. It probably will. But there's no really cool looking forest dragon in the book. Unlike other dragons that are in the factions. We'll get onto that in a second. But this just makes sense. We have all of the assortment of heroes miniatures there in the photo section of the rulebook, but there's no pictures of any of the dragons. And this kind of surprises me because it's fantasy. Dragons are a big thing in Warhammer Fantasy. And the forest dragon is a really cool miniature. So would we get it? At first I would have thought it maybe would have been the elf noble on a stag. But there's a picture of the old elf noble on a stag. So that kind of makes me think the only thing really missing is a forest dragon. And, you know, Tomb King's got a dragon. There's a very good chance that the Wood Elves could get one too. So for me, this is definitely going to be, has to be, a forest dragon. Okay, last up for the good guys, the High Elves. Now, this is a really, really hard one to do because the High Elves were the last faction of 8th edition that kind of were the poster boys, and they really, really got a major update during 8th edition. And out of all of the armies that are coming, the High Elves are pretty much almost entirely plastic. So it's really, really hard to sort of predict this. But there is one thing that has literally stood out a mile. Now, the dragon is there, and when I looked into in the photo section of the rulebook, I was expecting not to see it. And the reason why, and I'll touch on why I'm basing these predictions and wish listing and using a lot of this photo section at the end of the video, so stick around for that. Is the simple fact is there's a photo of it. So if there's a picture of it, it's pretty much coming. But there is one miniature out of all of the High Elf plastics that was in 8th edition that isn't photographed. And that is, and you can kind of see it just over my shoulder in the cabinet there on the top shelf, and that is the High Elf Lord on the Hippogriffin from the Islands of Blood set. I've said this before in other videos that I think that this model is going to be updated for the old world. And after now seeing the rulebook, and there is no pictures of this model whatsoever, I definitely think the High Elf Lord is getting a new Hippogriff to ride. So that is my prediction for the new miniatures. I don't think the High Elves are going to get much in the way of new things other than this plastic kit. There will be the cool made to order for the other metal miniatures, some of the metal lords and stuff. But I think the vast majority is because the vast majority of the faction is already plastic. It's really going to be a good time for high elf players. So, but that rounds up the good guys. So let's jump into the bad guys. Okay, so first things first, Orcs and Goblins. I don't really need to go into the Orcs and Goblins because we already know what the Orcs and Goblins are going to get. And one thing that I did say in my other video that this kind of is morphed from is that I thought that the Wyvern was going to be getting a new kit. It kind of almost did. It's got a new resin version, which is better than the horrible metal version from when I collected them 20 years ago. So yeah, that's still good. But Orcs and Goblins, we already know, so we're going to skip them and we're going to move straight into Warriors of Chaos. Now, Warriors of Chaos are an interesting faction because a lot of their things are still usable. They're still available. A lot of it is used in Age of Sigmar. But there's one thing that isn't. And there's one thing that the photo section of the rulebook seem to omit. And that is this. The Chaos Dragon. Yes, I'm doing it again. We're putting another dragon on the list of things that are coming, and it has to happen. Chaos Dragons are really rare. There's not very many miniatures of Chaos Dragons. We've had the two-headed one, which is this one, and we've had the really crazy Chaos Dragon that Forge World made. That was absolutely humongous. But there isn't been any real proper Chaos Dragons. And I kind of feel that this is a time that Games Workshop can really flex with a really cool looking Chaos Dragon. And yeah, it's definitely, if there is that rivalry between the Age of Sigmar studio and the Specialist Design team, then this is the time for them to really give the middle finger up at the AOS team, because they're able to pull out an absolute monster of a kit. So yeah, I think a Chaos Dragon is potential. But that's not all. We also have another thing that I think we're definitely going to get, and that is Forsaken. Now, there are no kits for Forsaken. Forsaken, as far as I'm aware, turned up in the Warhammer Total War 3 game. I've never seen rules for Forsaken or anything like that before, but there now are rules for units of Forsaken. So I've got a feeling that this is going to be sort of akin to the Bretonnian Foot Knights on foot, where it'll be a multi-part plastic kit with lots of sort of mutations, and they'll look like Chaos Warriors but with funky bits. I can see this happening, and I think the fact that we've got rules for Forsaken units, but no real models for it, is definitely a really sort of, I think, on the nose prediction with this one. But that's for the Chaos Warriors. Let's jump into Beasts of Chaos. Beasts of Chaos is, wow, this is a faction that I have no idea. And I've looked through the rulebook, I've looked through the army list, I've looked through the whole catalog that is currently out there. And the thing with the Beasts of Chaos is, the Beasts of Chaos have kind of not really changed since Warhammer Fantasy Battle. They kind of, their entire roster moved into Age of Sigmar in its entirety. It didn't really get changed. Nothing was dropped. Nothing was removed. It's like there. And right now, they're the faction that's the easiest to get into if you're wanting to get into the old world right now, because everything is available on the shelves. I say everything's available on the shelves. If you could actually find a shop that's able to sell any of it, then you could get into the old world as a Beast of Chaos player quite easily. So this is quite a difficult one, and this is literally going to be down to wish listing. What do I think the Beasts of Chaos are going to get? Well, I think a new Doom Bull. A new Doom Bull, probably. The old one is fine cast. It's not the greatest. Has kind of funky feet. There's been a lot of rumours for quite some time now that there's been a new Doom Bull and new Bulgors coming in plastic. And a lot of people were like, really? They kind of got updated in Fantasy in 8th edition? And really, are you what? That doesn't make sense. And now that we have the old world, and the old world is out, and Beasts of Chaos are one of the main factions for it, these rumours kind of make sense. But I don't really want to base this video on rumours. I want like a little bit of hard evidence in the rulebook to support this. looking at the photo section, pretty much everything's there, and it's like, really, what are they going to get? So I can see them maybe doing a Doom Bull, possibly the Centaurs, and maybe the Shaggoth. But other than that, the Beasts of Chaos are probably one of the hardest ones I've had to sort of look at and research to try to make some like realistic predictions, but that could be potentially coming. So yeah, let's just go with them ones. So next up is the Tomb Kings, and to be quite honest, the Tomb Kings are not really going to get anything extra. We already know that they're pretty much the new poster child coming out. If anything, for the Tomb Kings and the Bretonnians, they might get a battalion box, so you don't have to buy one of those really big launch boxes with the rulebook. Because that's going to off-put people, because they're not going to want to buy multiples of these boxes to have multiple rulebooks. So I can see that these both factions will probably get battalion boxes at some stage. But how did I come up with this? So the main thing that I come up with this is off the back of the rulebook itself. So when I got the rulebook off Simon, my friend Simon, who talked me into starting the old world, and thank you very much, Simon. You can also check out his channel here at Decrepit Gaming. He's a new YouTuber. He's very much new, and he's learning the ropes of YouTube and learning how to make content. So it would be really cool if you could go over there and give him some love. He was the guy that gave me the High Elf miniatures. So yeah, definitely check him out. But how I've come up, when he gave me the rule book, I sort of sat there looking straight at the photo section, and sort of like, are they going to have pictures of the new things there? And Games Workshop are very clever in how they've done this. There is no photos of any of the new miniatures outside of the Bretonnians or the Tomb King factions. Now, I'm going to hazard a guess that the pictures of the new Orc Black Orc and the new Shaman for the Orcs that they're getting are probably going to be in the Arcane Journal. And I'm suspecting that all of the new miniatures that are coming for each of these factions will also be in the Arcane Journals. Because they're not in the photo section or the colour photos or the battlefield setups when it comes to the rulebook, which is kind of cool and kind of crafty from Games Workshop. But it's also kind of telling because certain things are missing. And this is kind of how I've made this prediction. Now, you could say that the things that are missing are going to be available in made to order. And I do believe that some of the things that I have said that are going to get new kits probably will get a made to order version of their older models. Guaranteed. You know, there are somebody out there that really likes the old High Elf, Wood Elf, and Chaos Dragons, the wiggly worm ones. I don't know why you would. They're horrible models to build. But I could imagine that there will be someone out there that would want one. So yeah, this is pretty much how I've done it. I'm going to be having another video about what I think the old world is going to do in the long term and how Games Workshop are going to probably roll this out. It's kind of an interesting one. Again, it's entirely speculative and it's my own personal opinion, so take it as a pinch of salt, but it's a little bit of fun to talk about, so yeah. But if you do like my content and you are enjoying what I'm doing and you are enjoying the old world content, please smash that subscriber button. Since the channel has got bigger and the more people are watching my videos, my non-subscriber percentage has gone up. So it's now at 84%. So if you can, hit that subscribe button and we can bring that back down, because it was starting to go down. I'd started getting off 75%, and then a lot more people are watching my videos, and now it's gone back up. So smash the subscribe button, ring the bell, like the videos, and we'll see if we can get that percentage back down a little bit. That would be really, really cool. But thank you very much to all the support so far. And you can also check me out over on my members area and my Patreon as well if you want to support in other ways. But I will catch you in the other video, everybody. Goodbye for now.